I'm Kenneth Witt, and welcome to Gun Dog Nation. Gun Dog Nation is much more than a podcast. It's a movement to build a community of people around the world that like to watch a well-trained dog do what it's bred to do. Also, we want to get our youth involved into the sport of gun dogs, whether it be hunting, sport, or competition. We want to build a community of people united to preserve our gun dog heritage and to be better gun dog owners. Tune in to each weekly episode and learn about training, dog health, wellness, and nutrition. We will also offer tips for hunting with dogs and for competition, hunt tests, field trials, and other dog sports that involve gun dogs. Please go to our website, gundognation.com, and subscribe to our email list. We will keep you informed weekly with podcasts that are coming out. We also will be providing newsletters with training tips and health tips for your dog. You can also go to patreon.com/gundognation and become a member. There's different levels of membership on there. Just go check that out. Also, would like to thank Sean Brock for providing the music for this show, the introduction and the outro. As Sean Brock, he played everything on there except the banjo by Scott Vestal and the dobro by Jerry Douglas. Sean is a neighbor of mine from over in Harlan, Kentucky. I'm just crossing the mountain in Hyden, Kentucky, and he's a super talented guy. But most of all, I want you guys to check out the Creekers. They are also from Hyden, Kentucky, and this is an up-and-coming bluegrass and country band, and these guys are hot. They're all over TikTok and YouTube. You will hear these guys because in a year or so, they will be on the radio. They are very talented. Their videos are going viral on the net. These boys are family. Two of the lead singers, one grew up with my daughters, and the other one is my cousin's son, so he's family. But check them out. Check out the Creekers. Also, last but not least, if you want to buy a hat, koozie, t-shirt, or even gun dog supplies, go to shopgundognation.com and you can purchase any of those items. Thank you so much for listening. It's a privilege to have people that want to put up with me talking about dogs all the time. I actually enjoy what I do, and I'm so glad to have this opportunity, and thank you. Hello, this is Kenneth Witt with Gun Dog Nation. I'm coming to you today from Midland, Texas, and it's an honor to have this gentleman I'm getting ready to introduce on here. I was found out about him through a mutual friend that we have. I was actually at a Ronnie Smith and Susanna Smith training seminar at their farm in Oklahoma, and our friend Wade Bird, an attorney up in Amarillo, was telling me about this guy that I need on. As soon as he started telling me all this, I was like, he's got so much things to talk about, I really won't know where to begin. So we're just going to begin. Mr. Adrian Jackson, please introduce yourself and give us a little intro of what you do and your background, please.
Well, thank you so much, Ken, for having me on. Again, I'm Adrian Jackson. I'm actually originally from Lake Charles, Louisiana, born and bred. And I came up to the Texas Panhandle originally back in 1992 to play college basketball at Clarendon College. I actually met my wife there and got married the day after I graduated. So I was only 19 years old. My wife and I went to Oklahoma Panhandle State, where I finished my basketball career at. We both earned degrees at Oklahoma Panhandle State in Goodwill, Oklahoma. It's also where I got into the bird dogs. So in Goodwill, really? Oklahoma. And right when we graduated, my wife and I got hired on by Cal Farley's Boys Ranch. And we've been here since January of 1997. So we're approaching nearly 29 years. So.
Oh, wow. No, I had no idea you'd been there that long. He didn't tell me that. That's crazy.
Yes, well, I may drop all kind of nuggets as we talk, you know?
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about the Boys Ranch. What all do you do there? So
I'm currently vice president of Home Life. I oversee all the campus homes and direct care staff, house parents, both singles and couples, and the kids, the care of the kids, which we currently have 116 kids. We are licensed for 430 plus kids, but we would like to get to an optimum number of about 270, 75 kids or so. So that's what I do. I oversee all the day-to-day operations of Home Life, youth activities, which include recreation and experiential learning, which is the challenge course, and then intervention. So
okay. Now, do the students that are there, the kids that are there, is it year round or is it seasonal? How does that work?
Yes, year round. They live with us, but we're not their manager conservator. Their parents are still their manager conservator. So we're a parent place. Kids are not in state custody here. They're still in custody of their parents, and we're free. And what's unique about us is that we have an independent school district right dead in the middle of our campus. So we're a general residential operation. which is licensed by the state of Texas and overseen and regulated by the state of Texas. We do not take state money. We're all privately funded, which our funding started way back with our founder, Cal Farley. He's built a nice foundation, and so we're privately funded. And then our founder had the foresight to put a public school right smack dead in the middle of our campus for our kids and staff kids. It's a special purpose school, so our kids get to enjoy all the UIL sports, but they have all the things that a regular school has. So it's not a charter school; it actually is a public school that's funded by Cal Farley. It is not a tax-based school.
Now, Mr. Jackson, how do the kids end up there? What evolves that gets that what lands them there? I guess, for lack of better words.
Yeah. Very common question, and there's no easy answer. So the best answer is, if you can think of a scenario that would get a kid at Boys Ranch, we got some kids to match that scenario. Okay. So whatever somebody can drum up, we got a scenario for that. Okay. So but it all comes from there's some stress in the home. Whether it's stress that financially or emotionally, physically, whatever stress is in the home, it may lead to a youth being placed with us. We can take from 5 to 16 years old. We've taken actually some 17 and a half year olds on a case-by-case basis. And we can actually raise a kid. We're one of the few facilities that can raise a kid. We can take a 5-year-old, take them all the way to graduation. So We're very large. We're actually a working cattle ranch also, which is about 11,000 acres. Yes, I do get to run some dogs on that place. Some of the prime bird country in the Texas Panhandle, right smack dead in Old Tascosa on the Canadian River bottom. So very amazing. But we got kids from all over the United States. We just don't take them from Texas.
So, Adrian, you don't know much of my background, but I was a county attorney in Kentucky, and part of my job in that role was to, I dealt with placement of kids and, and unsafe homes and stuff like that. I'm asking this, I actually have a purpose to ramble it on, but is the goal to get the child back in the home, or what is it? That's what we did in the state of Kentucky. Is that the same process there?
Well, you're going to appreciate a couple of things. First, I'm going to answer your question. So both of those things, right? So if the family, we do family work. So if the family can make the necessary adjustments, growth, and where they can able to take care of their kid, we do support reunification, right? The second thing is even if they can and the kid chooses, hey, I want to stay here and graduate, and they can graduate. And if you come to Cal Farley for any length of time, our alumni support services in Amarillo still help you. So we have apartments in Amarillo that young adults can go live there, go to school, go to work. We have a whole system to continue to raise, to support young adults. And even if you are an adult that fell on the hard times, our alumni support, we have a whole division of case managers that support our alumni. Even if you were here for one day to you were here for 10 years, we still going to support you. So we're built this way. The other thing you would appreciate, we have a new initiative that started between two bird dog guys, right? So me being one, and the other one being district county judge in Kansas, who's a bird dog guy, worked his dogs. He connected us with some county attorneys in Seward County, and now they are some kids that's in their system. There's good kids. They got some charges on them. They're really good kids. So we have made our second trip up there, reviewing files, meeting with families, and meeting with kids, and I've now placed several of those kids into our system. We call it the Juvenile Justice Collaborative Program. That is very brand new. And now other county attorneys have been reaching out and joining in, and it's been an amazing process. So I know you probably appreciate that, being your former job, or in Kentucky being a county attorney. we would have been reaching out to you, by the way.
Well, you make me think the only resource, I was in Southeast Kentucky, Appalachia, and we're somewhat of a poor area where I'm from. But the only resource we really had at that time, Adrian, is there was a boot camp over in Breathitt County in Jackson, Kentucky. And the kids could go there. And believe it or not, I saw a lot of positive results from that. But anyway, this thing is amazing. So how many people, adults and youth, are you guys assisting at one time under your umbrella? Because you do a lot of stuff. Hello, this is Kenneth Witt with Gundog Nation. Many people quickly become frustrated and confused when training a retriever. Cornerstone Gundog Academy's online courses eliminate all the guesswork by giving you a proven training system that will help you train a dog that anyone will be proud to have in their blind. Learn where to start, what to do next, and what to do when problems arise. Visit cornerstonegundogacademy.com to learn how you can train your retriever. I have used this method myself. I have been through it a couple times with different dogs. I refer back to it lots of times when I'm trying to get dogs freshened back up for hunt test season. I highly recommend them. I have actually been a subscribed member of Cornerstone Gundog Academy since 2016, and I would suggest anyone use it. I highly recommend it. They have an app that you can get to on your phone. You can do it from your phone, your laptop. You can't get any more convenient than that. I've used it. It's proven and tried. And I know literally hundreds of people that have done the same thing that I've talked to. Visit cornerstonegundogacademy.com and learn how to train your own retriever.
Man, so between everything, I think between the family preservation, assisting people with summer camps, serving youth here on, I think it's right around 1,500 or so, and the number is growing. Our CEO wants us to continue to be out in the community and supporting the surrounding Amarillo, Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma Panhandle, Western New Mexico, and that reach. And so that's kind of been part of the group that's been on the outreach of those things, and that number is growing every day. And I can't remember the exact number of calls we get annually, but it's right around 25,000, 30,000 calls for just people just needing somebody to talk to, needing some resources, want to make referrals, and the whole gamut. So that's kind of what we do. It's still surprising that a lot of people even in the Amarillo area, doesn't really know what we do. So if you're ever interested, if you got any listeners that are ever interested, hey, set up a tour, come see the campus, check our website. We got some social media stuff. I'm finna drop another nugget on you. So I tell you, I'm gonna keep doing this all day long.
What is that website? And feel free to do that all you want. What is that website? CalFarley.org. Okay. And spell that, please, sir.
CalFarley.org. So we're one of the few places in the United States that have our own airspace. So up to 35,000 feet. So we have at-risk kids making 12 to 16-foot rockets out of carbon fiber, making their own motors, making their own electronics, putting the cameras in them, and making their own rocket fuel.
That is something else.
So come see that.
I've got to come up there, Adrian. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, definitely come see that.
Your wife works there too?
Yes, my wife is a casework supervisor. Again, we start off as house parents, 22 years old. Hadn't even got our ears wet, and she's still here, but she's a caseworker. Graduated from OPSU, got our master's from West Texas A&M, and been doing that ever since. So yes, sir.
You all took roots in the Panhandle for sure at West Texas A&M.
I know it, right? I know it.
Yeah,
that was not the plan. I can tell you that much. That was not the plan.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a whole lot drier in Louisiana, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was a fisherman before I was a hunter, so.
Yeah. I'm in West Texas too. Ain't much water here, is there?
Yeah, not at all, right?
Well, I've got to ask you this, Adrian. I know you played basketball at Oklahoma, but I've been told that you're a member of a certain Hall of Fame basketball player.
Yes, sir. We'll be inducted to OPSU Basketball Hall of Fame, Athletic Hall of Fame for basketball on September 20th. Yeah, so man, I'm just it's still a surreal moment
Well,
about that.
congratulations.
And yeah, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So
Now, you look like you built like a linebacker. I'd hate to play
I
basketball
know,
against you.
right? I probably if I'd have played football, I'd have been in the NFL.
Yeah, yeah. How tall are you?
I'm only 6 foot, so I play small forward. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but most people thought I was a lot taller because of how high I can jump and different stuff like that. So,
Very
people are surprised when I say, "Hey, I'm only 6 foot. I've been 6 foot since the 8th grade." So, I
You know
didn't
what?
grow
Me,
much.
I've been 5'11" since the 8th grade. I never grew another
Yeah,
inch. I wore a size
never
12
grew another
shoe.
inch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to be taller. I never got the 6 mark. In the Army, I was
Oh yeah.
5'11" and 3/4.
Yeah. You're almost there. You're
I mean, I
almost
took
there.
it a stretch, but anyway. So, Aiden, there's so much stuff we could talk about, but there's something that you've got a lot of accomplishments. We haven't touched but a small part of it so far. But let's talk a little bit about your national championships in the dog world.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, pretty proud of those. When I decided that I was going to compete, I had one goal, and actually the goal was I thought it was going to take over several periods, years. So it never was intended to all happen together. So one goal was I wanted to handle a champion. Second goal was I wanted to train a champion. And the third goal is I wanted to breed and raise a champion. And the worst thing that ever can happen is all three of those things happened with my first competitive dog. And so I didn't have these really lofty goals of winning, a national champion one. I just wanted to have have that feeling of posing a dog on the podium in each of those categories. Pose a dog that I bred, pose a dog that I trained, and pose a dog that I handled. When I had those goals, I wasn't good at any of that. So the dog that did it for me was actually when I was at my least understanding of bird dogs. The only thing I knew what to do is just work hard and run them hard. My knowledge was very low about them. I didn't know nothing about field trialing. What I did have is I had access to some older, wiser people that was providing some correction to me, and hence is why I now that I'm the older, wiser guy, is why I try to give as much knowledge to younger folks. But Poker Straight Flash was that dog. He was tough. He was gritty, and he was a bird dog. He was a dog that amazed me even in workouts. Like, man, you talking about something that really drives your purpose is watching a dog just go out and do his thing almost on his own. And I did everything to mess him up, and he just flat out refused. He was so resilient, and he was a guide dog. He wasn't just a dog that spent his day waiting on being a manicured field trial dog. He had to go out and he had a job, and he guided all over, West Texas and Central Texas, everywhere in the roughest stuff you can imagine. In fact, I believe that I got some guide dogs, some guide jobs, just because people wanted to hunt it over Flash.
I bet.
And
Yeah.
I had other great dogs, but he was a setter in pointer world, and there wasn't many setters running in the NBHA and the ABHA at that time, especially when the dog had to be steady to wing and shot and retrieve one bird on course, which was hard to get any kind of dog to look good during that time. So Flash was a shooting dog during that stage, not now to where they had to be just steady to wing and shot. He had to be steady to wing and shot and get a retrieve at any moment. And look good all the way through, tap his head. He was a natural retriever, never was force broke. just a really tough, but he was he manufactured wild birds. He manufactured them. And there's people that have hunted behind flash. If you hunted behind flash, you had a flash story. You had a flash story. He did something every time down, from being eyeball to eyeball with a covey of wild quail over in Asper Mountain, and we come up on him, and he's staring. He's probably inches away, looking at a covey of quail on a low limb of a mesquite bush with Richard Webb, God rest his soul. And that Richard talked about that for years. Years he talked. He couldn't believe it. Brett Bodaker, Flash put on a show running in those thickets up in Paducah, and we got done and eating at the McDonald's in Childress. He says, "Man, I ain't never seen a dog with a display of running and pointing and finding wild birds like I just seen." And, Bill Anderson, that, he would say, the trial ain't over till old Flash ran. And he answered it, right? And despite me not knowing nothing, that dog was incredible. And he was just as easygoing in the kennel. Just a really great dog. He's the only dog that has his picture and pedigree on my wall, despite my wife don't want any of that stuff up on the wall. I've been able to, that dog, some of his checks that he won, help my family,
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Hello, this is Kenneth Witt with Gundog Nation, and I've got to tell you guys about something that I've gotten hooked on lately. It's Pho-licious. These are gourmet instant pho and ramen bowls that actually taste like the real deal. When I'm out in the field all day and the last thing I want is to settle for bland camp food, Pho-licious is what I go to. It's authentic, the flavor, it's real ingredients, it's ready in just minutes. It's perfect for hunters, fishermen, or anyone on the go. And you can get them over 1,900 Walmarts nationwide, your local H-E-B here in Texas. Or you can just go online at pholicious.com. Trust me, once you try it, you'll keep a few stocked in your bag, in your backpack, or for your next adventure. I just want to say this, I want to add this to this commercial, because I know the owners of this company. They've hunted on my ranch. Joseph, he and I were actually met in Colorado on a hunting trip that was a real adventure. They are true hunters. They've hunted at the ranch, and I've hunted with them. And Anna, she is just amazing. She is the one that came up with this idea. They were both on Shark Tank. They are amazing people. So I love seeing people like this have a business. And I just had to say that in addition to the commercial, because I really believe in the product and I believe in the people that made the product. Be sure and go to pholicious.com or go to Walmart or H-E-B and try their product. I promise you, you will like it. Adrian, what do you feel like, we all have our dog in our mind that's the best dog we ever owned or ever run. What made that dog special to you over any other dog that you'd ever fooled with or worked with? Yeah.
You know what? I think because I was ate up with bird dogs, right? I was a blank slate. I was hunting and had some Shorthairs and loved shooting quail. And little by little, the harvesting of the game bird started phasing out of me. And I just kind of wanted to see a dog just find birds. And I didn't care about carrying the gun. And I didn't care about any of that. That started kind of phasing out. And I also then was fascinated by a dog that was over the hill broke. That dog was gone. And this was pre-tracking collar time. And we had to go find that sucker, and he was standing, right? And it would take 30, 40 minutes. You would go where you last seen him, and then you'll find him buried up in a plum thicket. And even though that was so stressful and frustrating at times, when you found that dog standing after you've been looking for him half the day, man, that just lit a fire under you. And so hence you get to field trialing. That's how you kind of get to field trialing. You get to want to see those kind of performances, all the time. But I think for me, it was really about I started with this little fat puppy and developing a young dog and taking him through a training process, whether good, bad, or ugly. We did it, and then over here you got this finished product that is refined and tuned up. And then what you did is you kind of kept trying to make it perfect, right? You just kept putting that finishing on a dog, and so that's what that's what I like today, right? So that part has, even though the field trialing part is kind of went through my system, the guiding part kind of went through my system and got all out. I've never got past watching a dog go from being just a big old prospect with nothing, knowing nothing, just what his parents and God gave him, to being able to maintain independence all the way to being a finished hunting partner. So that's kind of where I am today. I can tell you this much. As I gotten older, I don't like nearly as much dog as I liked years ago. I kind of like them to come look for me now versus me going look for them. So, but I still have a great admiration for one that will, go to the end of the county and back, to find a covey of birds. So.
Now, has all your dogs that you've run been setters or pointers? I know you had a setter, but have they all been setters?
So Flash was a 2-time regional champion. He won the Central Regional Championship twice. He won Dog of the Year. My first national champion was a pointer called Nemaha Butterfly. She was raised, bred, and trained by Dr. Pat McIntyre. And he didn't fit her bill. She was sold to the hunting string, and she was young, so she was on the guide truck for a little bit. And I kept seeing this dog do some really nice stuff, and we just got in sync. And so I moved her to the field trial string. She won the South Regional Championship and came back that same year and won the ABHA National Championship. She was the 4th dog in the callback. Yeah, 6th dog in the callback, and she in the callback. So she ran a 1-hour series. She came back for the 2nd hour and just put on a clinic, and partly because of that dog. She was not like Flash. She was a dog that was going to be in sync with her handler. She was going to do what I asked her to do. She was going to run as big as I wanted her to go. I can coach her around the field. She was very biddable. She was broke. She was a good wild bird dog. And we helped each other around that course. And she had her 2nd hour was a phenomenal run. The first dogs that went ahead of her had great runs. And so what I like about what Nemaha Butterfly did in that national championship, American Bird Hunter National Championship, was that she beat 5 great dogs in the 2nd series. And so, hey, that was a good one. The next dog was one that a setter, Poker Straight Jetstar. I bought him as an 11-month-old. Now that I'm starting to kind of know some things on these other dogs, right? I bought him as a big 11-month-old from Bob Barker, and he was out of that Barker's Blue Jet and Carpenter Misty Star Cross that was all over the place. They were all winning. He had some older siblings that were champions, and they said he ran too big. So Sammy Davidson and I took him out just north of Boers Ranch, almost to Channing, cut him loose in that big old country, and he filled it up. But he handled. Like, he went with me. He ran big, but he mined. And so he was a really, really solid bird dog, but he got real big. He was a big dog, 65 pounds. And, when we ran our bigger trials, it was a little warm. So I protected that dog. I didn't just run him in a bunch of trials. He never ran as a derby. I broke him. I got it with him. Wade Bird had him, and I had him out on his place over there east of Channing. He actually found a pheasant in the middle of nowhere. So I could have heard about wild bird dog he was. And I ran him in a few 30-minute stakes and just get him qualified, but get him used. I kind of was really patient with his development. Mm-hmm. And he was like the last dog to qualify in points to the inaugural running of the American Bird Hunter Open Invitational Championship. And he had a great strong first series, and he came back and had a better second series. I liked his endurance stakes where you run an hour 2 days in a row, and he won the Open Invitational Championship. The next dog was Richfield Turbo. He was bred by Gary Keel. He was over in Rhode Island with Richard Gianni, one of my good friends. And he was just too much dog for the East. He was a double-bred feeling Rocky Boy dog, just what I like. I like them double-bred Rocky Boy dogs. He was a tough, he's probably the toughest, strongest dog I've ever owned. And it took me a little while to get control of him. He really filled up the country. He was a lot of dog. He was actually kind of too much dog for walking stakes. When I would run him with my buddies, Virgil and all those guys on horseback, they just hated him because they said, man, that dog run way too big. We don't know how you walk behind that dog. And I would say one step at a time. But Richfield Turbo came back, won runner-up in the Central Regional Championship, and then he snagged runner-up in the National Championship that same year. That was actually my last trial officially as a pro handler when I ran Richfield Turbo. I knew it was coming to an end. I didn't like being on the road. And by then, I'd been up and down the road for 10, 12 years. And my job was getting bigger. And I was going to have to start making some concessions on what my next stage of the dogs was. And it was a good going out ceremony when Turbo got runner-up national championship.
Now, what year was that then, Adrian?
Oh, my gosh. I'd have to go look at the I had to go look at the plaques. It's been a little longer. I would say 2015, 2016 maybe. I'd have to go look at some plaques. But
now I know a dog man. I guarantee you still got dogs in the kennel, right?
Oh yeah. I got some nice ones too. Yeah, go to that Poker Straight Kennel site on Facebook. You have your mouth watered.
Actually, I need to write that down. You know, I'm aware of your kennel, but I didn't realize it was you.
People tell me that all the time.
When you said that, I thought you was talking about another kennel because I'm very familiar with that. I'm pretty sure it's on social media, right?
Yes. Yeah, in fact,
I
was one of the first ones to start putting pictures and videos on Facebook. If you go all the way back, you can go back 2011, 2010. And the reason I did that is I got a real job. And so I got customers calling and wanting to know how their dog is doing, and I'm working all day, and then I'm hustling out to the kennel in the evening, and I tried to send pictures and videos and by text, and back then it wasn't very good at that, and so I started that Poker Straight Kennel site, which is just my client. That's how they see their dogs. Right. And so I started that, and all the phone calls, texts stopped. They go to their site. I post videos or pictures after I work the dogs. And I try to be fairly consistent with it. And that's how my clients and customers see their dog. And actually, you can go back and see a dog that I started with a check card, and you can see that same dog with me flushing birds, steady on birds all the way through. My clients really like that. I've actually now, if a guy wants to see his dog, I'll FaceTime him while I'm working their dog. I think I owe that to the client for them to see their dog. One is they want to know their dog's alive. One is they want to know their dog's progressing through training. I'll set up a series of iPhones so I can get good content for their dogs. It's not so that Poker Straight Kennel site is actually, if you put a dog with me, that's what I want. How you're going to view your dog. It's easier for me to upload a video, pictures to it. And,
I like that.
So that's kind of I go through the effort of snapping pictures and videos for my clients. For if you put a dog with me, I believe I owe you that.
Purina Pro Plan. Here at Gundog Nation, we use Purina Pro Plan for our dogs. We actually use the Sport Performance Edition, which is 30% protein and 20% fat, the beef and bison. It contains glucosamine, omega-3s for their joints. It also contains amino acids for muscles and antioxidants. And it also has probiotics. It's guaranteed to have live probiotics in each serving. There's no artificial colors or flavors. We see the difference in our dogs. We see the difference in their coat, their performance, their endurance, and also in recovery. Be sure to use Purina Pro Plan dog food. The reputation speaks for itself. There's a reason that Purina has been around for such a long time. We suggest that you use it, and we are so proud to be sponsored by Purina Dog Food. I want to ask you something. If you're trying to pick a young dog that you want and this maybe back in your field trial days, and you're trying to find just a field trial champion in the works. What traits do you look for in the dog that you want?
You know, I'm terrible at that, so I'd rather keep them all, right?
Yeah,
Because this is why I say this. If I had to give you a list of my best dogs, right, and they all will be probably at the time where I didn't know much. Like I didn't have all these standards and all these set of criterias. Jack Storm and Lady, one of my first English pointers out of House's Rain Cloud, was probably one of my best dogs I've ever owned. She actually was the mother of my Poker Straight Jackpot, which was one of my first Derby of the year. She's also the mother of Phantom's Last Dime, who ran at the national championship at Ames 5 times. He was a 5-time All-Ace champion. That dog couldn't be beat. Today, you know, the way she was as a puppy, I would have probably culled her today.
Wow.
And Flash, I remember Virgil Moore and Terrell Cook laughing at me when he was 3-4 months old because he pointed with his tail like that. And, you know, now he's a 2-time champion and in the Texas Field Trial Hall of Fame. So, you know, sometimes we can let having all these standards and expectations and all this stuff get in the way of a dog's development, a young dog's development. And they do get in my way today. You know, they do get in my way today because I'm trying to sort through dogs way too fast. Back in the day, I didn't have that, where I was sorting through dogs that fast. I was immersed into the whole total dog program. Plus, my job was not as important. My job at Cal Farley wasn't as important. So I do weed through dogs faster but I can tell you this much: if you give us some patience and time and just let a dog develop, you're probably going to end up with a better dog. Because what I would look for now is a dog that's got a lot of style, that's got a lot of stamina, that's kind of gritty. I like one that's half crazy. I like one back then that was a little crazy. I like them now that's a little crazy. But there is so much that can happen from 3 months to 6 months, 6 months to 10 months, and definitely after the year, after they're a year old, that sometimes even how I am today, I don't wait. I don't wait. And so I would definitely say if a dog has to show some intelligence, you know, that's different than the rest of the other young dogs that you have in the group. So one of the things that guys like me and other trainers and significant bigger breeders, we get to put a young dog against other young dogs. So then hopefully when you pick the best one out of the group, it's a standout individual. But hopefully your group is a standout group, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's really hard for me to qualify that statement today because when I look back and do my count, I none of that stuff was true, right?
You know, it's hitting home with me what you're saying because just in the last few months, I had a dog that I was about ready to cull, and now I'm seeing brilliance. Yeah, and I'm not, patience ain't a gift that I have. Yeah. So, but you're exactly right. If you'll sit and just work it out, wait it out, sometimes it's worth it.
Yeah, 100%. So it's really hard for me to tell you, a dog that does this, that, and other, that's the one, because if I gave you my list, none of them was in that group, right? My list. Heck, I had one that was, Lady used to flag when she was 6 months old. There's no way today I was going to keep a dog that flagged. But she flagged us. I just didn't know any better. Yeah. Like, right? I didn't have nothing that says, hey, a dog that flags is undesirable. I didn't have any of that. She was my dog, and I was going to work her through it, right? And she didn't flag as a broke dog, but she did as a young dog. She did flag. And so today I wouldn't even have spent 2 minutes with that.
Yes, yeah. It's something about training dogs, Adrian. You continue to learn. You'll go to the grave still learning how to be better. Yeah. And I tell people, debunk your own theory. So you can come up with all these ideas, right? But immediately work on debunking that, right? Because what it's going to do is it's going to prevent you
from having a dog that, if you debunk that theory, that may be the dog that puts you on the map, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I need to take your advice. The timing you to saying this is perfect for me, just in my situation right now. So I like
Yeah.
this. One of the things too that really interests me about you that I found out from our mutual friend, Mr. Wade Bird, you partook in a best-selling book on the New York Times bestseller list. Tell us about that.
Oh yeah. So I ended up over COVID. Is when the podcast people all that came out, right? And so
More to that.
at some point I started this guy just was dropping like little nuggets on social media, and I would, for some reason, it was short enough to where I would watch his videos, and it was kind of inspiring. And I'm not, during COVID, we were all kind of searching for some connections, and this, that, and the other. We're so isolated. So I started kind of following Chip Baker. And then after COVID was starting to, be resolved and everything kind of started going to normal, he was having a book signing in Amarillo. And I was reading the comments and when he posted that on Facebook, and I think I might have wrote in there, man, I wish I can go meet you, but I had some work obligations or training obligations. And I noticed that everybody that was commenting was my good friends. So I text my my group of my text group buddies, Yeah. And so I asked them, I said, how y'all know Chip Baker? And they said, man, we went to school with him at WT. So that kind of forward our relationship. And so I went to we needed a baccalaureate speaker, and I invited Chip Baker to become the Boys Ranch baccalaureate speaker. And he came and did an amazing job. And the Chapels program asked me to take him back to the airport. And we went out to eat and met some of the guys that we had mutual friends with. And we just had a really amazing conversations about impacting people's lives, And so that was Saturday. I go to the kennel at about 5:30, 6 o'clock, between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. I drive out to the kennel in the morning, and I did my normal stuff I do in the morning, and I'm leaving the kennel in about 7:05, and I get a text from him when I get home that says, "Hey, would you be interested in being part of volume 8 of the Impact and Influence on Leadership?" And I think at some point I mentioned, hey, I've been, working on my own book, and it's not been an easy task and been out of focus. And he had said, hey, this might help you in writing your own book. You just have to write a chapter on leadership. And so this is right smack dead in the middle of dogs coming in. Budget is due. We're transitioning from our school schedule to our summer schedule. It's a busy time. And I told my wife, man, I like to do it, but I'm too busy. I don't have time to do this. I'm not good at it anyway. I got dogs coming in. I got budget needs to be done. I got my attention, like my schedule now is tight. And my wife says, hey, you need to do it. And I was giving her every reason why I can't do it. And she finally said, hey, you need to do it. So by that evening, I text Chip back and I says, okay, I'll do it. I'll write the chapter. And it was going terrible. Like it was, and I had 7 days to write that chapter, by the way, right? Gosh. So it's going terrible. By Wednesday, I decided they're not going to take my chapter. I'm going to write this chapter for the people that I'm writing about. So my parents, some mentors that helped me along the way in childcare and develop my leadership skills. I'm going to write this chapter for them. What I thought was going to happen is they were going to reject my chapter for being terrible. And I was going to send the white pages to my mom. My dad had passed. And I was going to give the white page to each of the people I wrote about. and that was going to be my gift to them. That at least I considered writing. My chapter made it into the book, and then the Amazon bestseller run, the podcast, and all that stuff started. And so I went from volume 8 of leadership to volume 9 on love, and I wrote a really nice chapter of on love, and then I came back with legacy. Now in legacy, which is the yellow book, I actually wrote about the bird dog community, things I learned from Jim Nugent, my mentor. I thank the bird dog community for helping my family by providing the means for me to feed my family while I was growing in my experience and my skill set here at Cal Farley. I wrote about 2 of my clients. That was my first clients that supported me. Brad Bates of Midland, Texas, was one of my original clients, and Richard Webb, who passed away before I can give him a book, in Houston, Texas. They were my clients for 28 years. And so I paid homage to them. I talked about my good friends, Virgil Moore and Matt Cochran, how we're the statesmen now for passing on, keeping this thing going in the Texas Panhandle. And so I paid homage to our role as the older state guys now. It used to be I was one of the youngest guys, that we have a responsibility to continue the bird dog legacy in the Texas-Oklahoma Panhandle. And so I thanked all my communities, my Cal Farley's community, my bird dog community, and my family unit. So, what I had the opportunity to do was publicly thank people. You don't get opportunities to do that much, where you get to thank somebody for impacting you.
Yeah.
You don't get to do that publicly often. And I could have wrote about all kind of stuff, but what I chose to do was, thanking people for helping me be who I am today. So.
Hello, this is Kenneth Witt, and Gundog Nation is proud to have one of their sponsors as Retriever Training Supply, based in Alabama. Retriever Training Supply offers fast shipping on quality gear. Your dog will love it. Visit retrievertrainingsupply.com to purchase gear to help you train your retriever. Listen, they have some of the best leashes I've ever found. It's stuff's made in America. Their leashes are, and they source them locally. They have anything you want, fast, friendly service, fast shipping, just good people. Retriever Training Supply. Yeah, I love that. Now, you're also working on a new project now, right?
I am. So it's my first own body work. It's called The Purpose-Driven Youth Care Worker. So it's about this is some hard work, working with kids. And it's about how you keep your purpose high and driven and staying focused. And it's centered around things along the way, commitments I had to make along the way to get to where I'm at as a child care worker, not as a vice president, as a child care professional. And so I didn't do these things in consciousness. They're in hindsight. So the idea is, let me give back to somebody starting this about, here's a guide for commitments that you might need to consider in your life as you your trajectory as a child care professional. So it's called keeping your purpose high, managing through frustrations and changes, and just making those commitments. And then there's some shifts in thinking that had happened with me that I wrote in the book. So hopefully that it'll be released in September. October, I'm completed the final draft. My wife is working on the cover with the publisher. Shout out to Woodworks in Houston, and which is the publisher for Impact the Influence series with Chip Baker. And hopefully that thing has dropped. And then the project I've been working on forever is a lot more complex, and is actually how working with traumatized kids that experience trauma and working with the survival brain of a bird dog, how the techniques intersect. And so if you don't mind, I'll tell you a quick story, right?
Yeah, no.
So I had so how when people started sending dogs to me, they were sending dogs that are already messed up. They already been to a trainer, they've been up north, they came back with problems, and so I got a bunch of last chance. I was like last chance university, you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah. And that's the hardest part, right? As a
yeah,
trainer,
yeah.
that's the hardest thing to do.
I didn't have no blank slates.
Yeah.
They all came with some kind of issue, like from major to minor. I would say from major minimum to major, serious. So
Yes.
it wasn't nothing ever easy to fix. But I had this call, and this gentleman said, I got this setter. I raised her. She's been every trainer in the Midwest, and he had kind of heard about me. And he says, "Hey, this is a long shot. Just give her a chance. And if it doesn't work out, I definitely understand." So I get this little setter, and she's birdie. Like I'm starting my check card work, and everything is looking good. Like the early work is going good, and then Ken, it went to pieces. It went to pieces so fast, and and so I called him and says, "Sir, I gave it my best go. I'm sorry." He says, "Hey, no problem. I'll come pick her up." And I felt really bad. The next day I go out there to the kennel. She's bouncing at the gate. And she was flattening out, laying down and just screaming bloody murder. Like I'm not even doing nothing, right? So I go out to the kennel. I see her bouncing at the gate, and I worked all the dogs I needed to work. And I said, let me just get her out. And she did that. Like she came out and she just flattened out and screamed. And I just ignored her. I just ignored her. And eventually, within minutes, she got back on all four of her feet. So she's behind me, and she's kind of resisting on the check card. And I just kind of kept walking. And then I felt slack in the check card, and she got in front of me. So I picked her up. I carried her back to her kennel. I put her up. Next day I did that, and she flattened out, but it was significantly shorter. And then next thing you know, she's out in front of me. We went up and down my driveway, and I carried her back to the kennel. We did that about 3 days. In 2 weeks, I had her wool broke. At the end of the month, I had her standing on her birds. So that was the experience I'm having with this dog. And I'm learning about conditional responses at work, where a young person will have this response, and adults around them would have this pattern of responding back. And then it would create this response from the child to get that reaction from adults, right?
Just reinforces it, right?
Yeah. So they'll take that to another environment. So they'll learn that at home. They'll take it to school. So they'll have this behavioral response. And then the adults will have a similar response to the parent. And eventually what happens is that behavioral response of the child will create a very similar pattern response from home to school, where they either just kind of let that child be or whatever the case may be. So that dog, so I'm going back and thought, that's what was happening with me. When that dog did that, it had learned that if it has that behavior, the trainer put the dog up or let her be. And because she already had quit her, without knowing, I actually got her through that hump. We pushed through the hump. She had no problem. She just learned that if I act this way, then I get to do what I want to do. Right? Yeah. And so what started happening, Ken, is I had several moments where one of the two things fed the other career. So I had where that fed my bird dog career. And then I had things that Jim Nugent taught me that fed my childcare career. And one of those things was he was talking about, techniques. He said, in your quest to teach a dog something, be aware, be mindful of what else you might teach them. So while you're trying to teach them whoa, you can't teach them to fear you. While you're teaching them here, you can't teach them to run away from you. You got to be really mindful of what else. So you think about applying that to working with kids. While you're trying to teach them respect, you can't teach them fear. When you're trying to teach them a skill set, you can't teach them that adults are not on their side. So that philosophy of Jim Nugent migrated to childcare so fast, and has been one of the reasons that I've had some success working with at-risk youth. Man, that was a long answer.
No, you know what? I've actually had experience. Won't get into all of it, but yeah, someone that knows me working with some unruly kids, and how I could handle them. And this other person said, well, he's always working with dogs, and that sounds like a bad analogy.
Yeah.
But honestly, the psychology, and I'm not a psychologist, but there's some of it that correlates, I think.
Yeah, 100%, because you're dealing with the survival brain.
Yeah.
In both, right? And so it's actually got some very similar trauma work is very similar to the patterns and predictability experiences that you do to a dog. You got to give kids that have experienced trauma patterns of predictable rhythmic work, right? And so it's the same, right? It's the same philosophically, and it's the same as what it looks when you're teaching a dog something. You have to have a very defined routine and structure on what you do, and it has to be sequential in nature, right? You can't go from A to D. You got to go A to B to C to D, and it's the same as when you're working with kids, and you have to make it very predictable and routine. And so that's how I train today. I train very sequentially. I train with routines. I have goal settings. I'm methodical, and I can accomplish the same things actually with a slower pace and the same time frame, if that makes any sense. So as I matured, my pace is slower. My time frames of completion is the same.
Yeah, I've dealt with that same with myself. Trying to be patient and methodical. I did something that I actually got away from doing. I need to go back to it. But I was training two pups of my own, and they were different ages, but I found somehow online, I found this journal for dog training, and I'd write down every day what I train them and then what their strengths and weaknesses were. And man, that just reflecting back on that would help me think, oh, wow, they did do this. And oh, I did do this. And that's what helped, or I messed this up,
Yeah.
Which is normally I mess up more than I fix, but it was a great tool.
Yeah.
Now,
ahead,
Adrian, you've also, you judge field trials, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
How you been doing that? So, there's everything I do have some thought and philosophy behind it. And everybody that field trials breed dogs, they want to contribute to the community, right? And one of the things I thought about is, hey, I'm not going to contribute in the field trial world from the standpoint of I'm going to win 1,000 championships like Sean Kinkler and George Tracy and those folks, right? I'm going to produce dogs and Farrell Miller, et cetera, and all those folks in all the different breeds. They're going to impact because they're going to put out such amazing dogs that they're going to impact the field trial world.
Yeah, I
knew that wasn't going to be me, right? I knew I wasn't going to breed enough dogs are so amazing that I was going to impact the field trial world. Yes. But what I can do is that I can sign up and judge and name some champions, and judge frequent enough. I think I might have judged close to 100 championships. That if I can put up the right dogs consistently and contribute to the field trial world as being a judge that's honest and fair, that I can impact the field trial world. And so that's my contribution to the field trial world, is that, hey, I'm going to be a fair and honest and knowledgeable judge, respectful, and hopefully the dogs that I name champion will impact the field trial world. And so that's my contribution to the field trial world. I get to, I'll be judging the Brittanys National Championship in Bloomfield, Arkansas, right around around Thanksgiving. Okay. And I will be judging the Vizsla National Championship in Ohio. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the exact date of that. October the 21st through the 24th. And so yeah, I judge all breeds, championship, national championships,
So how
and
many
seen
different
some
breeds have you
amazing.
judged, Adrian? I'm sorry. Or how
So,
many different breeds have you judged?
so at the Garden Setters, I judged their national championship. I judged the All Age Classic of the Rama Runners. Of course, I hadn't judged the national championship in Ames. I judged the multiple pointer setter American Field Championships, a bunch from Grove Springs, Missouri to Nebraska. You name it. I've probably been there. I judged the Hill Creek Amateur All Age last fall. So I did a lot of pointer stuff. I did several of the Brittanys national championships, both all age and shooting dogs, both German Shorthair national championships, both all age and shooting dogs.
When you're getting ready to go on your next hunting trip, make sure you pack the most efficient and reliable ammunition on the market. Migra Ammunition brings you the most diverse loads on the market. Migra's patented stacked load technology is the epitome of efficiency. 2 shot sizes stacked together to create the most diverse and efficient line of shot shells in the industry. It doesn't matter what flyway, what state, or what the weather, the standard remains the same. At Migra, reliable loads that perform in any condition every single time. We're proud to have Migra Ammunition as a sponsor for Gun Dog Nation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to tell you something right now. I just thought about, Adrian, you've made a bad mistake.
What's that?
You know I've got your cell phone number.
Yes, sir.
And now I know who to call every time I got ready to call. You're going to think, why in the world did I give that man my number?
No, one of the things that I have done is, I have a really good client. I don't mind mentioning his name, Steve Morris. He sent some dogs to me to train. He retired. He was getting ready to send a dog to me to train. I say, Steve, you ain't do that. Don't send a dog to me. Let me coach you in training your own dog, right? And he was the first. I sent him videos of me training, and I said, hey, go mimic this. And there was another gentleman that I met judging with in Washington. I've done the same thing with him. There's another gentleman just hit me up on Facebook, watching my Facebook, and he's in Connecticut, I believe, somewhere on the Northeast, in the New England area. And I did the same thing with him. I've coached him to train his own dog. I don't mind doing that. I don't need another dog in training. I don't mind helping somebody train their own dog. And I think that's really cool to me to help somebody train their own dog.
Well, a lot of people that's been on my podcast are guys like you that I consider expert trainers, and they all help me. God love them. I don't know how they probably get so tired of seeing my text, but I'm not a pro trainer, and I fool with dogs, Adrian, since I was a kid. I mean, literally been obsessed. But I'm just, I'm not at that level. Like, I've always worked crazy hard hours. Not that you've not, because you have too, but I've just anyway. Now it's my passion. I won't take a dog to the grand in the retriever world.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
But anyway, so yes, I'm so glad I got your phone number.
Oh man, give me if I can help, I will help.
Now I got to ask you, how did you meet Wade Bird?
So members of the Bird Dog Club, but way back in the day, there was kind of a hunting expedition at the Civic Center. I can't remember the gentleman's name. They used to bring me in to do the pointing dog, and they used to bring Wade in to do the retrievers, right? And we just, for some reason, we just kind of hit it off. Wade is really inviting. Like, he's like,
yes,
hey, come hunting with me. Let's go. I'm having a cookout. And, he's just an amazing guy. He's gave me some legal pointers before. He looks after everybody. So if one of his friends are looking for a dog, Wade is calling me. If I have a dog that the owner wants to sell, I can call Wade and he'll know somebody looking. And he's just a great guy. He's fun to talk to. He likes to socialize, and man, he's one of my really good friends. If you're having a hard day, and he don't even know it, but he'll send some kind of inspiration message. And so
Adrian, it's people that's not in this world, in this dog community, I should say, not world, but in this community. you don't realize, and like you said about Wade, that's exactly, and you've known him way longer than I have, but I made him, and again, he's invited me to a hunt I wanted to go on so bad. He was telling me about it back in the spring. And now I realize I've got a conflict and I cannot go because I booked a grouse hunt up in Montana. But anyway, my point is I get to meet people like you, like Wade, Ronnie Smith, and all these people in this community that's so nice and supportive of each other. And that's what it's all about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we need to keep it that way.
That's right.
It needs to be really uncomfortable for somebody that's selfish in this community to stay in this community. We need to always be inviting to the people that wants to grow it and build a ecology where everybody fits in this bird dog community, because we all got the same common goal. And I'm reaching the stage in life like yourself is that I'm all about, like, I don't want to die with any knowledge, right? I don't want to vanish off into the nowhere, and I haven't given everything out that's been given to me, because none of that stuff originated with me. And if I don't pass it on, I've done the community a disservice.
I like that. I had a really popular trainer in the retriever world here in Texas too, Rody Best, and he talked about it on this show, about giving. He wanted to give back, and he does. He practiced what he preaches, and I love that. I mentor people, even though I'm not the expert, but if I know a little something that might help, I try to tell them. But I want to get up there and visit.
Yes, sir.
And maybe when I'm driving up that, because I'm going to be going up north and back from Midland to hunt. I drive through, and is it pretty close to? How far are you from Amarillo?
Well, you come it depends on which way. We are north of Vega on 385. Most people come right by our gates and don't even know it. Between Vega and Delhart, going up into Colorado.
That's how I go to Denver when I go up into Colorado.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah. In fact, the rest station right here coming off the Canadian River, when I'm going out to my kennel here in a little bit, I'm finna start seeing everybody watering their dogs at this rest station. Sometimes I pull in or and just say hi. But here in a little bit, it'll be almost every other day. There'll be somebody at that rest station with a pack of dogs and a dog trailer and ATVs and everything on their way going to Montana with a pack of dogs, So
last year I drove right through there to go to South Dakota to take dogs and drop them off, come back. Then I went back up again to hunt, come back. And this year, I'll definitely, I want to come visit. And again, Adrian, if you don't mind, please tell everybody how they can find the website for the boys camp, the boys ranch.
So it's Cal. So there's a bunch of Boars Ranches with that name, but we're Cal Farley Boars Ranch, CalFarley 'S Boars Ranch. Our website is CalFarley.org, and we've been around since 1939. Most people know us about our rodeo, and it's you will. I can't explain it in a way that you're going to expect what I tell you. You're going to see more than what I can explain to you, if that makes any sense.
And if people want to contribute, is there ways that they can do that as well?
Yes, if you go to, so one is you can call. So you can call our, which I don't have that number, but it's on that website, and you can talk to our development people. Or there is a donation tab on that website, But here's what I like to do, right? One is we are fiscally responsible, and we have a mandate to be that way. And I like to encourage people to, come see us. See if you want to donate $1, come see us. And so you can feel good about that $1, right? That is going to the welfare of young people. And so come see us, research us, come talk to people, and then I then decide, is this something you want to support, right? And so, but I encourage you to come see us, and then even if it's 50 cents, research us and say, hey, what does this nonprofit do for kids? And if it doesn't inspire you, then I'll give you your donation back out of my own pocket.
Well,
unless it's too much.
Well, y'all been in business 80 plus years. You're doing something right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
That says a lot.
I believe in this passion, this mission, vision, and our founder was a visionary way beyond his years. In fact, the things he put in place is still ahead of other organizations at this time right now, 80-something years later. Is still ahead,
Okay. Well, we'll have that link on our podcast. So when the podcast is out on all these things, we have links on it. We'll have that web address of yours there.
Yes, sir.
And then when you get that book out, you holler at me, and
I will. I'll send you a copy. In fact, drop me your address. I'll send you one of the Impact and Influence books. Right. Well, I'll send you the yellow book.
One of the things I'm going to do when I get off here is you and Wade's on a group text.
Yeah.
I'm going to save yours separate because I'm sure we wore him out today.
I don't want to even hear. I don't want to turn my phone on.
Yeah. So I'll leave Wade alone. And well, yes, hey, sir. This has been a real pleasure. It's everything. It's Wade. Now, like I got to tell you, Wade was singing your praises strong back when I first met him, and he realized what I did. And then we were talking again the other day, and I was like, oh, my gosh. Because, I get so many ideas, and I'm always driving people. And I was like, oh, gosh, Wade. We were coming back from Memphis from the Delta Waterfowl, the Ducks Unlimited convention, and he'd stayed on the phone with me an hour and a half because we're both talkers. We're both lawyers.
Yeah.
But I was like, wait, you got to tell me, the guy the judge, the national champion, the guy that's at the boys ranks, what's his name? Give me all that again. You gave it to me and I let it slip my mind because I get so many podcast ideas. Mm-hmm. I keep a list on my phone, my notes, and it's a long list of people I want to get on. And, I wish I could do one every day, but
yes, sir.
But I'm so glad. I got you on here, and I really appreciate you being accommodating for time and taking your time to be on here.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right, well, Mr. Jackson, I'm going to let you get back to your evening, and I hope you have a great rest of the week.
Yes, sir.
If there's any way I can help promote you all at the ranch or anything that you're doing, let me know.
Definitely come out, and if you need to spend a night, we have apartments. Just kind of, hit me up, and I'll make some arrangements. But I definitely like you and your viewers to see what we do out here at Cal Farley's. If they don't know already, I really like you to see that.
That would be a good project too. Sometime, mm-hmm. Figure out how to make that work.
Yes, sir. Bring your dogs, and let's do a demonstration.
When I come through, I'm going to have a dog trailer. I'll have some dogs with me.
All right, let's do it. All right.
Well, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate everything.
Thank you.
Gundog Nation, and I'd like to encourage all you listeners and viewers on our YouTube channel to check out patreon.com/Gundog Nation. For $10 a month, you can become a member of our community, and we'll have access to lots of stuff. Mainly, we'll do a monthly forum, an open forum, where you can ask me anything Gundog related, and we'll learn from each other in the community. Should be a lot of fun each month. We will do that. So check it out, patreon.com/Gundog Nation.